we're going to discover how to design an emotionally energy-rich house without moving.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are honored that we've been able to create for you free access to, coming up to 700 Life's Inside Track episodes where we share insider tips, making house home, building wealth wisely through real estate so we get the most out of what we've got. This is going to be a shift because there are little tiny shifts we can make that will move our house from an energy suck to an energy giver emotionally. We're not talking about an energy audit.
No.
We're talking about, it is an energy audit, but it's an emotional energy audit. And there's little tangible things we can do. And we got a list for you. What are the top?
Don't give a number.
Okay, start with top 3.
Okay. I think that bringing inside out.
And outside in?
That's what I meant.
Inside both. I think it's both.
Yeah, like having an outside space if you have the possibility to go there to recharge your batteries, but also bring the outside in. Now, how do we do that? Well, open your blinds, open your curtains, like pull them back, get the sunlight to come in, the light to come in. If you've got things in front of windows,
like furniture even, so you can't get up to the window. It actually obstructs the view. And for many, it drains energy. I know we have lived in spaces where we felt it was the best way to lay out furniture, but we run into things more often.
Yeah, get that stuff away from the window.
If at all possible.
If at all possible. I know some people are in smaller houses. They got limited room. But maybe you got too much stuff. That's another thing that will affect emotional energy. Is if you got too much stuff for the size of the...
That was number 2. You moved fast.
I did, didn't I?
You moved really fast.
It was a perfect segue. Did you see the way it flowed together there?
It flowed. It flowed. So we want to think about how do we get more light in? And in the winter, do we really need screens on our windows? Like you're talking about bringing the in out and getting rid of obstructions. Screens is part of that conversation. Now, in the summer, you might not want the mosquitoes in, so it might be worth restricting a little bit of the light. But there's a lot more of it. So a lot of us, including me, suffer from the seasonal affective disorder, or they call it SAD. And so it becomes emotionally increasingly draining not to have more light in my house.
Yes. And I think that the screens block some of the light. It's amazing how much light they block. And the other thing is in the summer, we leave those screens on, but do we open our windows? Are we too reliant on central air conditioning? Now, maybe you're in a noisy environment. You have to keep your windows closed, or maybe it's too hot and you can't take the heat. But turn it off once in a while when it's one of those nice nights, it's cool. Crank the windows, change the air, let the outside in.
And basically the inside out by not having obstructions. I was actually at a client's walkthrough the other day, and it was a style, and our house has some of them, and that's those grills in the window, the little grids. And now I think the current style is lose the grills, more plain glass. So you naturally may already have a house that feels more open and inviting. But in this case, they were removable. Ooh. And I said, are you going to be keeping these? She goes, I don't think so. So I decided it was my personal mission during the walkthrough, and the house was vacant. So I wasn't disturbing anybody. It was closing in a couple of days. So I took the grates out of a couple of the rooms, and I was in awe and shock and wonder about just from removing those little slips of wood.
Wow.
Totally opened up the light. And that was before she took down all the curtains and all the stuff that was obstructing the windows, the additional obstructions. That was just the grills. Yeah, and we were both in awe.
Yeah, and I bet you it wasn't even it felt like a lot of light more was coming, but it probably wasn't because it's not a big blockage. But I think what you were seeing the outside better. It was letting the outside in because there weren't all those bars stopping.
And it was probably a 5 to 10% shift because they take up more space than you think.
Yeah.
So it was visible and tangible and noticeable.
Hmm.
You want to try it sometime.
Okay. The problem is our front ones are built inside the glass, so we can't take them out.
Or I would in a heartbeat after that experience.
Yeah, and if you have rugs.
Is this number 3?
Number 3, rugs. Are they giving life or taking life? Rugs are designed to absorb dirt and the bugs and dust and whatever. But that means you have to steam clean them at least once a year to get all that back out of there. Otherwise, they're contributing it back into the atmosphere, right? And so are your rugs, whether area rugs or wall-to-wall carpeting, is it bringing joy to you, or is it
bringing clutter,
pulling emotional energy?
Dirt.
You know, is there coffee stains on it going up the stairs? Whatever it is, if it's, then rent a steam cleaner. Right?
And number 4, even though I said you're only going to give top 3, we can't stop there. When Ken talked about lighting, and he was talking about natural sunlight and getting more in, because for most of us, light is more important than having a dark space. And certainly having the right lighting in the room. Because if it's a room that's meant for sleeping, maybe I don't want big, bright light bulbs. I only want low wattage LED bulbs. Maybe in other rooms, if I'm building a puzzle or I'm doing creative work or I'm making cards or I'm painting or I'm doing something that requires light, does the lighting in the room, the style of lighting, as well as the size of the bulbs, work with the purpose of the room? And if not, I'm telling you, it is an invisible energy, emotional energy drainer.
Right. Now, even that bedroom that you want it dark, I say it emotionally helps me when I get up in the morning. The first thing I do, well, after I put some clothes on, is I pull up the blinds. I pull up all the blinds in the room, get as much light into the room as possible while I'm doing the other things in the bedroom. And also then when I go to in it from time to time to get something, is bright and cheery. It's not a dull room.
Right. So what about flowers? Like, you may not notice that for you, flowers either give life or take life. Maybe you're allergic to flowers, so having flowers and plants inside is an emotional energy drain without even realizing it's happening. For me, the contrast, true confessions once more, is if Ken brings me home flowers that he's purchased for me, they actually drain energy.
A plant's okay. But cut flowers, if he paid for them, bothers me. Now, if you as a guest brings me cut flowers, that brings me joy. But if I know it came out of my bank account, that bothers me. But if we grow the right flowers in the garden and we cut them every day and bring them in, maybe if you're watching this video, you'll notice there's tulips in the background on the one side, and there's orchids that I've been able to get reflower on the other side. That brings immense joy to me if I do the work. Right.
Which is kind of strange, but that's an energy giver versus an energy sucker.
Yep. And there may be some things that you've been let sliding. This is the last one, Yetta. You know, the to-do list, but maybe you haven't even put it on the to-do list. It's just bothering you, the things that are incomplete or broken or dirty. Put them on a list, start checking them off one at a time, and you'll see your spirits start to rise. And we're glad that you're joining us on Life's Inside Track, because we build wealth wisely together, and it's about much more than just money.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.